Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the companion, the Medjay Predasite. So companions were reworked in the game about a month ago, and that's why we've been going through a lot of the companions in the game, and we're going to continue to go through all of the companions in the game here. Now I want to give a disclaimer before we continue with this video, because I don't want to waste people's time. The Medjay Predasite is the first pet we have encountered so far in this recent list that is not really Steel Path viable. You can do Steel Path with him, he'll kill things on Steel Path, but there's not really a reason currently in the game to actually ever bring the Medjay Predasite, unfortunately. So if you want to continue watching, just, to hear my glorious voice, that's fine. But I just wanted to let you know that, so, if people don't want to waste their time, that's okay. I understand that. So we have the top commenter of the last video, which is Uppel TJE. And the first commenter of the last video, BBSK Studio. And we have the recent supporters of Johnny, Eddie, and Lolvio. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, let's go into the Medjay Predasite here. Parasite. So we have Big Chungus. He's a Medjay today. And what does the Medjay Predasite specialize in? Well, it's opening enemies up to finishers. And that's pretty much it. And unfortunately, I was really hoping that maybe they would count as mercy kills, because finishers and mercy kills aren't exactly the same things. They're both finishers, but one is a different type of finisher. I was really hoping that maybe they would count as mercy kills, and that would actually make this guy into the best Titania pet. But they don't, unfortunately. They just act as regular old finishers, which kind of sucks. There is a synergy where this pet can activate an arcane called Arcane Trickery. So, there is a super niche case to use him for Ash in a Bladestorm build. But I play a lot of Bladestorm Ash, and with me being experienced in Bladestorm Ash, there's no reason to run this guy. You're doing all your finishers yourself. There's no point in this dude just randomly doing a finisher one time to maybe activate Arcane Trickery. So even for that specific niche, this guy does not, he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. If you could think of another, of course, I'm not experienced with every Warframe in the game. There's so many Warframes in the game. I have a lot of experience in about 20 Warframes, and I have second or third hand experience in the others, but only about 20 of them am I very experienced in. So if you could think of a Warframe that maybe has a niche with this, please let me know, and please type it in the comments. That way people can maybe read it and maybe give this little guy another shot at life. Okay, let's go into Big Chungus here. And I'm going to type in Predasite, and we're going to bring up his 3 mods, which are actually the ones I have on here. Okay. So the Medjay Predasite has 2 specific Medjay mods. And he has 1 mod that is just for all Predasites. So all Predasites can use Volatile Parasite. So let's go over this one here. Let's go over this one here first. Paralytic Spores. He's going to charge at an enemy within 30 meters, dealing 160 damage. This releases spores that affect enemies within 15 meters, opening them up to melee finishers and slowing them by 50% for 10 seconds. So that's a lot of wording for it just to be, he opens up enemies to finishers within 15 meters. That's really it. So a lot of dudes will be open up to finishers, but again, they're just regular finishers. They're not like mercy kills or anything like that. And he also slows them for a short time. So that's what Paralytic Spores does. And we're going to go to Infectious Bite here, which is an attack that deals plus 200% finisher damage and infects the target with a virus that grows 4 volatile pustules that react to damage and explode. Sounds really good, but it's actually really lackluster on testing. So he's going to first do the finisher damage, and then if the target doesn't die, then he puts those viral procs on. It's like he's doing it backwards. You should be putting the viral procs on, then doing the damage. What are you doing, Medjay? What are you doing? You don't even know how to build. What the hell? So, yeah, it's kind of booty. And the blast that happens it seems like it only affects the one single dude, unless it has such a small blast radius that it just wasn't affecting anyone else. But it just literally seems like it affects the one dude, which really, really sucks. So I'm going to go in the simulacrum before we go over these other mods and just show these off here. Oh, and then Volatile Parasite. This is the one for, this is for all Predasites, so it's not just the Medjay. So every 15 seconds, he's going to throw up a little larva or a maggot, whatever you want to call it. And that little maggot is going to run to a enemy. He's going to jump on his face, start doing unspeakable things to that enemy's face. And then he's also going to draw the fire of his former allies. So it's going to CC like enemies around him as well. And after a certain amount of time, that maggot is going to burst and do viral damage. And if you kill that dude while the maggot's on him, it's going to do bonus damage too, plus 40% more damage to enemies within 10 meters, and it's going to apply a viral proc. So Volatile Parasite is a kind of like a light CC, and it's a light viral spreader. It's not like great at either, but it's pretty decent at both. So that's why this definitely makes it on the build. And again, this pet is not really Steel Path viable, so this is going to be more of a roleplay build because I'm going to have both of these on the build right now, which these are not very powerful. So, you know, if you were truly to try to do something with this, maybe in the future, these two wouldn't be on the build, unfortunately. But let's show these two off here. Let's go into the simulacrum.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would cry out in thanks.
Okay, and we're going to do one at a time. Okay, we'll leave the... we'll do Paralytic Spores. This is the one where he charges and opens enemies up to finishers. So we'll spawn some enemies in here. You'll see he's going to attack. It's actually a pretty big range. You know, it's 15 meters. You'll see all of a sudden they'll all get staggered, you know. And now they're all open up to finishers. I can go do my little finisher thing here. But again, it's not mercy kills. It's just regular old finishers. So I was really hoping that maybe it would synergize with Parazon mods, because if it did, he could have been like the best Titania pet, but unfortunately, it does not. So yeah, he'll just keep doing that. He opens them up to finishers. Here we go. I can just do that again. Okay, and then his next one here. This is the one I'm more kind of upset about, that I wish they would have did something better with this. Predasite, Infectious Bite. So this is the one where he's going to do 200% finisher damage and infects a target with a virus that grows 4 volatile pustules that react to damage and explode. So let's take this one off for now, and we'll see what this one does. So if the target dies, the target just dies. But if the target doesn't die, then he's going to start growing like those viral thingies. So he's probably going to, yeah, he's going to do it to this guy. If I, like, shoot him, they grow bigger and whatnot. Okay, they do apply viral to enemies in a radius there. Okay, so it's a little bit better than I was thinking, but it's still pretty booty. This is not the actual thing. That's the mecha set right there, and Contagious Bond that procced. Yeah, that's how powerful, like, the Contagious Bond and the mecha set is. It's definitely not Infectious Bite. Let's spawn some more enemies there. Infectious Bite is a lot less impressive than that. So, yeah, you could shoot them, make them bigger. And, you know, they do get... I think it's based on his status chance, too, because some of the dudes that were hit also didn't get the viral proc. So it might be based on his status chance. I can't confirm that, really. So, okay. We've shown that. And now we're going to show the little larva throwing up, which if you saw it yesterday, you know what's going to happen. He's going to spawn an adorable little larva. I have to have enemies out there, don't I? All right, come on, buddy. Throw him up. Throw up on the ground. Oh, there he goes. And that little larva is going to just start face humping a dude. There we go. Unspeakable things are being done to this Grineer's face. And then eventually it's going to explode and do a viral proc to everything in a certain radius. So it's kind of like a light CC and it's a light viral spreader. Because if I had their AI turned on, they would all be trying to shoot at that guy. All right, so let's get out of the simulacrum here. So the one ability had a little bit more of a AoE than I had thought. When I was testing it, it didn't really seem like it was a very big AoE. But I also think it might also be based on their status chance. I'm not really 100% sure on that. Regardless, though, it's not as good as a viral spreader as the Pharaoh Predasite from yesterday. The Pharaoh Predasite, not only is it a better viral spreader, but it also increases your weapon damage by adding toxins. So like that, for that reason, the Medjay Predasite just does not really serve a purpose right now in the game. Again, unless you guys can think of something that super benefits from having enemies open to finishers. Like it would have to be a huge benefit, like an entire reason to actually bring in, a whole pet into it. So, all right, let me go back here. Sorry about that. Okay, we got his mod there. We'll put the other two on. Again, these are just kind of more roleplay mods for now. Infectious Bite and Paralytic Spores, because they are very weak. Okay, so we're going to start with two survivability options here. This is going to be dependent on your Warframe. If you're playing a health and armor Warframe, it makes sense to link your health and to link your armor with the link mods. If you're playing a shield and adaptation Warframe, you wouldn't want to link your armor. You would want to link your shields instead. So it would look like this with link vitality and link redirection. The other way you could set up a shield and adaptation Warframe is to link your shields, not link your health, and use hasten deflection for shield recharge and shield recharge delay so that you have a more shield gate potential. And then the other thing to consider if you're going to run this setup with a shield and adaptation Warframe is instead of hasten deflection with shield recharge and shield recharge delay, use mecha recharge, which I can't fit right now, but use mecha recharge, which is only shield recharge, not shield recharge delay. So it's a little bit weaker as far as its defensive purpose, but you get the set bonus, which helps with spreading statuses. So we are going to use another mecha mod, though, on the claws. So even if you don't use this mecha mod here, we're going to use another one on the claws. So we'll still have a part of the mecha set. Okay, let me go ahead and put my health and armor stuff back on. Fiber. Okay, next we have Synth Deconstruct. Synth Deconstruct is enemies injured by the companions have 25% chance to drop a health orb when killed. This combos incredibly well with the Warframe mod Equilibrium. And also, if you just need extra health, maybe you're struggling and you just need a little bit extra health orbs once in a while, this is a good option here. Now, if neither of those two things are true for you, if you're not using Equilibrium or you don't need health, then you can go ahead and pop Synth Deconstruct off, and that's completely fine. Paralytic Spores, we already went over. This is the one that opens enemies up to finishers. Primed Animal Instinct and Fetch, I believe, are mandatory on all companion builds. This is going to be Loot Radar and Enemy Radar, and Fetch is going to be scooping your loot up for you. Although some people will run without Primed Animal Instinct, and they do completely fine. So it's an option. It's more of an opinion that I think this is mandatory, but I personally always run with Primed Animal Instinct. But if you don't want to, it is fine. Just make sure you do run with Fetch. This one is mandatory Fetch. Okay, Contagious Bond is when your companion kills an enemy afflicted with a status effect. 50% of that status spreads to other enemies within 9 meters. It is a very good status spreading tool. Also, note that the Kubros, Predasites, and Kavats have very good killing potential. So it's easy for them to kill enemies. Unlike some other pets that may struggle. Like some other pets are more support-based and they don't really kill enemies. So these guys actually kill enemies pretty easily. So Contagious Bond works completely fine. And we go to Duplex Bond, which is a similar thing. So this is also going to help you with status spreading because as you spend energy You're going to create little clones of your Medjay who are also going to run around and whack things and put statuses on things. And the second effect of Duplex Bond is that their kills have a 50% chance of dropping energy orbs. And like we were saying before, Kubrows, Kavats, and Predasites are very good at killing, so even their little clones are going to be getting kills and dropping energy orbs for you there. Now we have Infectious Bite. Again, Infectious Bite is a little bit more of a roleplay mod for now because it's kind of weak along with Paralytic Spores. We're going to keep them on because, I mean, this is the Medjay. You should be at least using one of these for it to be viable. But again, this is a non-viable pet, unfortunately, because both of these don't really have a purpose. Volatile Parasite is an okay mod. So this is going to be the one that, you know, spits out the larva and he causes the viral proc and he does some crowd control as well. And we already went over there. Okay, let's go over the Medjay claws here. So interesting things about the Medjay claws is that they actually start in viral. If you look though here, we don't have viral, and it's because we put Burning Claws on, and Burning Claws converts all elemental damage from claws to heat damage. Viral is very good. I really like Viral, but these claw mods are extremely powerful. These give you 330 of an element, 330 status chance. Like, so not using a claw mod really sucks. Like, you're kind of gimping yourself. So even though the Medjay starts with Viral, to try to keep Viral on and not use one of these claw mods, it's like you're gimping yourself. Okay, so let's go over the mods here. In the posture, we're going to be using Assassin Posture. So the Medjay Predasite is really good. Well, a lot of pets are, but a lot of pets that use the Bell Ringer Magnetic Strike combo are really good at magnetic spreading. And those magnetic procs do the most benefit to enemies that have Overguard. And Assassin Posture makes your pet specifically target those dudes that have Overguard. And it also gives them plus 300% damage to those overguarded enemies. So that's why Assassin Posture is going to be the best for the Medjay here. We're going to use Bite for 330 critical chance and 220 crit damage. Maul for some melee damage. Precision Conditioning for some melee damage, and also converts all of your elements, your physical elements, to Slash. Burning Claws, like we said, for 330 heat, 330 status chance, and converts all element damage to those claws to heat damage. I believe Slash and Heat are the best. However, there are some arguments to be made that maybe the Impact version of the conditioning mod, which I believe is Brute Conditioning, Brute Conditioning, is possibly as good or sometimes better in certain situations. I just think that Slash in certain situations will be better than Impact, and I think that'll happen more often than the Impact. Burning Claws, there's arguments to be made that Shocking Claws is also really good. I personally believe the Heat is the best, but Shocking Claws probably comes quite close. Okay, let's continue on with the bottom row here. We have Hunter Synergy, which is plus 30% primary weapon critical chance added to your companion. So this is going to be dependent on your primary weapon. If you're using a weapon that is high in critical, it's going to look higher than this 65% that I have. And if you're using a weapon that is really low in critical, you're going to look a lot lower than the 65% that I have here. The reason I have the 65% is because I'm using the Grakata. The Grakata is a very in-between weapon. It's not very great in crit chance, and it's not very great in status chance. Just kind of okay in both of them. And so for that reason, if I was to take off Hunter Synergy, it goes down to 43. So I think Hunter Synergy is worth it, even if you're using like a middle of the ground weapon like the Grakata. The only time you might not want to use Hunter Synergy is if you're using an absolutely horrible crit chance weapon, like a weapon that has like, 5 or 10% crit chance. At that point, don't use this stuff, of course. Mecha Overdrive is similar. So this one links your primary weapon's critical. Mecha Overdrive is going to link your primary weapon's status chance. So plus 60% primary weapon status chance added to your companion. Again, this is going to be better or worse depending on the status chance of the primary weapon that you have. But even with a middle of the ground weapon like the Grakata, I'm sitting at about 113%. If I was to take this off, it goes down to 86. So I think even with a middle of the ground weapon, it's worth having on here, but it becomes even better if you're using an even higher status chance weapon. So, and like the Hunter Synergy, if you're using a weapon that is completely garbage in status chance, that has like 5 or 10% status chance, of course, you may not want to use Mecha Overdrive. Now, with Mecha Overdrive, you also get plus 90 status duration, which is kind of nice. And you also get the status spreading effect on the bottom, where Companion marks a target every 60 seconds. For 3 seconds, killing the target applies their status effects to all enemies within 7.5 meters. So that helps to spread statuses as well. Okay, and then finally we get to the 1-2 punch of the Bell Ringer and Magnetic Strike combo. So Bell Ringer is melee attacks, knock down enemies, and apply 4 forced impact status effects. And then Magnetic Strike is 100% chance to apply a magnetic proc when inflicting an impact status effect. So those 4 impact procs are going to be 4 magnetic procs. And yeah, you'll be magnetic spreading with that. So that's how you build out the Medjay Claws. That is kind of how you build out the Medjay Predasite, although, you know, right now, like, let's say you were a brand new player and for some reason, for some ungodly reason, this was like the very first pet you ever got in the game, which I don't think that's even possible. I think you have to get a regular Kubro first, which are good. Regular Kubros are good. Please use that instead of this. But for some reason, if this was the first pet or like your second pet and you just wanted to build it out, you could build it out the way I have here, but also just consider not using Paralytic Spores and not using Infectious Bite. These are more roleplay mods than anything because they're not really great. So you could use anything over these two here. All right, and that was the Medjay Predasite. He is the first one that I believe is not really Steel Path viable as far as, like, if you were to compare him to other pets, you know, there's no reason to bring him in. Again, if you can think of a reason to open a lot of enemies to finishers, like a good reason, not just like a super niche one, but like a good reason for that, please let me know, and please let us know in the comments. That way, you know, other people can read it and maybe try out those things. So if you guys liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing, or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.